Northwest Semitic is a division of the ancient Semitic language family, also known as Syro-Palestinian, comprising the ancient languages of the Levant. It would have emerged from Common Semitic in the early Bronze Age. It is first attested in proper names identified as Amorite in the Middle Bronze Age. The oldest coherent texts are in Ugaritic, dating to the Late Bronze Age, which by the time of the Bronze Age collapse are joined by Old Aramaic, and by the Iron Age by the Canaanite languages. The term was coined by Karl Brockselman in 1908. Who separated Fritz Ommel's 1883 classification of West Semitic languages into Northwest and Southwest. Brock-Hellman's Canaanite subgroup includes Ugaritic, Phoenician and Hebrew. Some scholars would now separate Ugaritic as a separate branch of Northwest Semitic alongside Canaanite. Central Semitic is a proposed intermediate group comprising Northwest Semitic and Arabic. Central Semitic is either a subgroup of West Semitic, or a top-level division of Semitic alongside East Semitic and South Semitic. Sil-Ethnologue in its system of classification eliminates Northwest Semitic entirely by joining Canaanite and Arabic in a South-Central group which, together with Aramaic, forms Central Semitic. Historical development. The time period for the split of Northwest Semitic from Proto-Semitic or from other Semitic groups is uncertain. The first attestation of a Northwest Semitic language is of Ugaritic in the 14th century BC. During the early first millennium, the Phoenician language was spread throughout the Mediterranean by Phoenician colonists, most notably to Carthage in today's Tunisia. The Phoenician alphabet is of fundamental importance in human history, as the source of the Greek alphabet and later Latin alphabet, and of the Aramaic, Square Hebrew and Arabic writing systems as well. By the 6th century BC, the use of Aramaic spread throughout the Northwest Semitic region, largely driving the other Northwest Semitic languages to extinction. The ancient Judeans adopted Aramaic for daily use, and parts of the Old Testament are written in it. Hebrew was preserved, however, as a Jewish liturgical language and language of scholarship, and resurrected in the 19th century, with modern adaptations, to become the modern Hebrew language of today's Israel. With the Muslim expansion in the 7th century AD, Arabic began to gradually replace Aramaic throughout the region. Aramaic survives today as the liturgical language of the Syriac Christian Church, and is spoken in modern dialects by small and endangered populations scattered throughout the Middle East. There is an Aramaic substratum in Levantine Arabic. Sound changes phonologically. Ugaritic lost the sound *s, replacing it with per second. That this same sound became, in Aramaic, suggests that Ugaritic is not the parent language of the group. An example of this sound shift can be seen in the word for earth. Ugaritic, Ars, Hebrew, Rs, and Aramaic, Ara. The vowel shift from * to o distinguishes Canaanite from Ugaritic. Also, in the Canaanite group, the series of Semitic interdental fricatives become sibilants. *th, *theta and *theta became z and per second, respectively. The effect of this sound shift can be seen by comparing the following words. Bibliography. Blau, 1968. Some difficulties in the reconstruction of Proto-Hebrew and Proto-Canaanite in Memoriam Paul Carl, BZAW, 103, pp. 29-43, Cross, M. 1965. The Development of the Jewish Scripts in the Bible and the Ancient Near East. Essays in honor of W. F. Albright, ed. G. Wright. New York. Reprinted 1965. Anchor Book Edition. New York, pp. 133-202. Cross, M. 1967. The Origin and Early Evolution of the Alphabet. EI 5. 8*-24*. Cross, M. 1982. Alphabets and Pots. Reflections on Typological Method in the Dating of Human Artifacts, MAARAV 3, 121-136, Cross, M. 1989. The Invention and Development of the Alphabet, in the Origins of Writing, pp. 77-90, Cross, M. and Friedman, N. 1952. Early Hebrew Orthography, a Study of the Epigraphic Evidence, New Haven, American Oriental Society. Daniels, Peter, 1996. The World's Writing Systems. New York, Oxford. Moore, Johannes C. 1988. Narrative Poetry in Canaan, UF 20-149-171. Donner and Rollig, 1962-64. Kananarische und Aramische Inschriften. 3 volumes. Wiesbaden. Driver, R. 1976. Semitic Writing, From Pictograph to Alphabet. 3rd edition. London. Garbini. 1960. Il Semitico di Nordovest. 21-51. Garnier, Romain, Jacques, Guillaume. A Neglected Phonetic Law. The Assimilation of Pretonicure to a Following Coronal in Northwest Semitic. Bulletin of the School of Oriental and African Studies 75.1, 135-145, DOI 10.1017 per seconds 00419777 extension 11001261, GAR, 1985. Dialect Geography of Syria-Palestine, 1000-586 BCE, Philadelphia, Uppen, Gelb, J. 1961. The Early History of the West Semitic Peoples, JCS 1527-47, Gelb, J. 1963. A Study of Writing. 2nd edition. Chicago. Gibson, C.L. 1971-87. Textbook of Syrian Semitic Inscriptions. 3 vols. Oxford. Clarendon. Ginsberg, L. 1970. The Northwest Semitic Languages, in the World History of the Jewish People. Volume 1/2. Patriarch S. Tel Aviv. Greenfield, C. 1969. Amorite, Ugaritic and Canaanite, in Proceedings of the International Conference of Semitic Studies. Jerusalem. pp. 92-101. Halpern, 1987. Dialect Distribution in Canaan and the Deir Allah Inscriptions, in Working with No Data. Semitic and Egyptian Studies presented to Thomas O. Lambden, ed. D.M. Golumb, Winona Lake, in Eisenbraunz, pp. 119-39. Harris, 1939. Development of the Canaanite Dialects, AOS 16, New Haven, AOS, Hare, Larry G., 1980. The Formal Scripts of Iron Age Transjordan, BASOR 238-21-34, Hofstadter, and Jongling, 1995. Dictionary of the Northwest Semitic Inscriptions. 2 volumes. Leiden, New York. Brill, not including Ugaritic. Hunegard, 1990. Remarks on the Classification of the Northwest Semitic Languages, in the Bilam text from Deir Allah Re-Evaluated. Proceedings of the International Symposium held at Leiden, 21-24 August 1989. pp. 282-93. Kaufman, A. 1988. The Classification of Northwest Semitic Dialects of the Biblical Period and Some Implications thereof, in Proceedings of the Ninth World Congress of Jewish Studies. Jerusalem. World Union of Jewish Studies. pp. 41-57. Moran, William L. 1961. The Hebrew Language in its Northwest Semitic Background, in the Bible and the Ancient Near East. Essays in Honor of W. F. Albright, ed. G. Wright. New York. reprinted 1965, Anchor Book Edition, New York, pp. 59-84. Moran, William L. 1975. The Syrian Scribe of the Jerusalem Amarna Letters, in Unity and Diversity. Essays in the History, Literature, and Religion of the Ancient Near East 146-166. Miscati, Sabatino, ed. 1969. An Introduction to the Comparative Grammar of the Semitic Languages. Phonology and Morphology. Porta Linguarum Orientalium, N.S. Wiesbaden. Otto Harrassowitz. Nauver. 1987. Early History of the Alphabet. An Introduction to West Semitic Epigraphy and Paleography. 2nd edition. Jerusalem. Magnus. Especially sections on West Semitic. Parker, Simon B. 1997. Stories in Scripture and Inscriptions. Comparative Studies on Narratives in Northwest Semitic Inscriptions and the Hebrew Bible. Oxford. Oxford University Press. Rabin. 1971. Semitic Languages. Encyclopaedia Judaica, Volume 14, pp. 1149-57. Rabin. 1991. Semitic Languages. In Hebrew. Rainey. F. 1986. The Ancient Hebrew Prefix Conjugation in the Light of Amarna Canaanite. Hebrew Studies 27-1-19. Rainey. F. 1990. The Prefix Conjugation Patterns of Early Northwest Semitic. pp. 407-420 in Abush, T.Z., Hunegard, and Steinkeller, P. eds. Lingering Over Words, Studies in Ancient Near Eastern Literature in honor of William L. Moran. Atlanta. Scholars. Wren. 1995. Handbuch der Allverbreiten Epigraphic. 3 volumes. Darmstadt. Vaughan. 1999. Paleographic Dating of Judean Seals and Its Significance for Biblical Research. BASOR 313-43-64.